often physical pain can reflect something much deeper than mere bodily discomfort. Have you ever considered how your own body strives to convey a crucial message? Perhaps that debilitating headache that relentlessly announces itself when stress reaches its peak, or that persistent feeling of heaviness in your shoulders that doesn't subside even with attempts at complete relaxation. These signals might not be mere biological reactions. They could very well be coded messages, subtle indicators of something profound and fundamental emanating from the depths of your inner world. At times it feels as though your own skin transforms into a mysterious map, where every sensation of pain or discomfort marks an uncharted path, a silent clue about something that urgently demands your close attention. Thus, pain appears not merely as an annoying inconvenience, but as a vital messenger carrying profound meaning. And what if that inexplicable pressure in your chest, emerging during moments of deep uncertainty, is actually a silent cry from suppressed emotions seeking release? Or if that persistent tension in your neck, which seems almost chronic, is nothing more than the result of years of carrying responsibilities, the burdens of which weigh not only on your own shoulders. Few of us truly recognize that the body acts as a profound spiritual teacher, speaking to us through sensations, trying to draw our attention to the very issues and inner conflicts we stubbornly refuse to confront. These messages can be the key to self-understanding, and deciphering them has the power to transform your life. The great thinker and founder of analytical psychology, Carl Gustav Jung, deeply understood this connection. He asserted that the unconscious strives to express itself through all available means, and if one neglects its subtle, barely perceptible signals, the body inevitably assumes the role of a stern but faithful warning system, often resorting to the language of physical pain. This understanding is neither a mystical nor an esoteric fabrication, but a scientifically grounded and empirically confirmed real connection between the mind, deep emotions, and the physical body. True awareness of the body's potential can unlock entirely new horizons of self-discovery. In essence, modern science is increasingly leaning towards the understanding that the origins of chronic pain syndromes, persistent muscle tension, and even some somatic diseases often lie in deeply hidden, unresolved emotional conflicts. It's no surprise that a throbbing headache might afflict someone after days spent in a state of excessive mental or emotional strain, or that an unbearable heaviness in the shoulders intensifies after years of carrying an invisible burden, symbolizing life's difficulties and responsibilities. Within this approach, every physical symptom is viewed not merely as an ailment, but as an important message, a silent invitation to deep introspection. This allows one to grasp how to release accumulated inner tension, learn to decipher the signals your own body sends, and transform physical pain into a path toward profound self-knowledge and inner balance. Your body is constantly in dialogue with you. It's time to listen carefully to its voice. Have you ever pondered the deeper reason behind that persistent pain which seems to arise without any objective physiological preconditions? What if, instead of simply labeling it as pain, you embrace it as your body's persistent attempt to establish contact? At first it merely whispers, trying to get your attention. Then its voice grows louder and more insistent, practically begging to finally be noticed. As Carl Gustav Jung, the eminent founder of analytical psychology, sagely observed, what one refuses to confront and work through within oneself will inevitably manifest externally, appearing in the guise of fate. This concise yet extraordinarily profound statement prompts reflection. Perhaps the felt heaviness in your shoulders, the oppressive pressure in your chest, or that relentless chronic pain are far more closely linked to internal, suppressed emotional states than to any external, obvious factors or circumstances. You often experience stiffness in your neck or back. Such physical manifestations frequently arise after tense discussions or intensely stressful periods. At such times, your body isn't just reacting to external stimuli, it clearly shows where internal tension is accumulating. Unresolved emotional states can be likened to heavy luggage that each individual carries daily. This imaginary suitcase is filled with guilt, anger, deep disappointments and unfulfilled hopes, everything that has never been processed or unpacked. However, the body possesses a unique ability to remember every emotion and every lived experience. Carl Jung asserted that the unconscious is not merely a repository of memories and desires, it also serves as a channel through which what we prefer to ignore manifests. Consequently, when an individual disengages from their feelings, the physical body assumes a warning function, seeking to redirect attention to truly significant aspects of being. Imagine, for instance, that a systematically recurring headache functions as a kind of alarm signal. This isn't merely a consequence of lack of sleep or excessive screen time, but rather an indicator of an overloaded mind that's unable to process and resolve what truly demands its attention. An acquaintance once shared that during moments when work pressure peaked, his head felt ready to split, as if an incessant storm of thoughts raged within. However, when he began regularly practicing conscious breathing and systematically journaling his true anxieties, something remarkable happened. The pain didn't vanish instantly, but noticeably lessened, as if a window had finally opened, letting in a stream of fresh air and relief. You might sometimes feel an inner stagnation, as if an invisible barrier obstructs the natural flow of life energy and self-expression. The physical manifestation of this state often expresses itself as chest tightness, a constricting sensation as if your heart is in a vice. Thus, the body sends an alarm signal, indicating the need to release something deeply buried. This could be an old fear, an oppressive anxiety, or a deep, long-suppressed sorrow whose existence you might have almost forgotten, having held it inside for so long. The renowned psychoanalyst Carl Gustav Jung drew a parallel between the unconscious and the shadow side of the personality, which, like an invisible guide, influences an individual even when they consciously resist this influence or refuse to follow it. Such pressure in the chest could very well serve as a manifestation of this shadow, a collection of emotions that seemingly were successfully overcome or suppressed, but in reality are merely patiently awaiting the moment to finally be confronted and acknowledged. This inner pressure can be imagined as a locked door, the key to which conceals the path to much desired freedom and inner relief. However, the question of how to open this door remains key. The answer lies in realizing that the path to liberation begins with consistent, albeit small, steps. The first such step can be a simple exercise. Close your eyes and focus on deep, conscious breathing, feeling how each inhale fills your body and each exhale brings relaxation. Then, in this state of focus, ask yourself internally, what exactly is being held inside? What unexpressed emotion or suppressed experience demands release? The next stage is journaling. It's recommended to record everything that comes to mind without any judgment or analysis. These can be brief, fragmented phrases or complex, tangled thoughts, streams of consciousness. This process can be compared to tidying up a long, cluttered room. As you begin to move and sort through each item, you discover something long forgotten or ignored, something that now requires close attention and understanding. Similarly, sensations of pain in the shoulders and neck are often likened to a heavy burden, an unbearable backpack that one stubbornly continues to carry, even if its contents are not entirely their own. Often this heaviness represents the burden of others' expectations, or a persistent inner voice that constantly whispers, "You should have acted differently." Each night, you can visualize this burden as a pile of immovable stones or a tightly bound knot restricting movement. A natural question arises, why continue carrying this invisible weight? One case is particularly striking, a woman who suffered for years from debilitating back pain. Once realized that the origins of her suffering were not physical. It turned out that she was driven by an overwhelming desire to please everyone, which led her to take on far more responsibilities than she could handle. When she managed to master the art of saying no to others, and conversely saying yes to her own needs, something truly amazing happened. The pains gradually began to recede, bringing long-awaited relief. You should pay close attention to the astonishing honesty of the human body. It never deceives. It always precisely indicates the areas where balance is disturbed and where conscious attention needs to be directed. According to Carl Jung's profound insights, what one stubbornly denies or suppresses ultimately manifests in a way that makes it absolutely impossible to ignore. In the context of this understanding, specialists explore simple, yet deeply transformative practices designed to help you learn to hear and correctly interpret the messages your own body sends. They delve into various breathing exercises, effective tapping techniques, and symbolic rituals such as writing letters about suppressed emotions and then burning them. Just imagine the incredible liberation from everything you no longer need to carry with you. Are you ready to listen to this ancient wisdom of your body? You might ask yourself, what if the pain you experience isn't an enemy, but rather a guide capable of leading you to a qualitatively new level of self-discovery and inner harmony? Every passing minute steadily brings you closer to transforming your relationship with your own body and ultimately to finding that long-awaited relief. It's often observed how certain types of pain manifest precisely during the most challenging and stressful periods of life. For instance, neck tension might arise after a heated argument, a feeling of increasing burden on your shoulders when you feel excessively overwhelmed, or a crushing heaviness in your chest in situations involving fear or deep anxiety. These manifestations are by no means mere coincidences. The physical body strives to express what the mind sometimes cannot put into words. Let's consider, for example, the neck area. It symbolically connects the head, the seat of thoughts and rational thinking, with the body, which is the center of emotions and intuitive sensations. When this part of the body becomes rigid, it literally demonstrates a hidden conflict between what you consciously know and ponder and what you deeply feel. It creates the impression that your mind is pushing you to keep moving forward, while your inner emotions urgently ask you to stop or pause. Such stiffness can be a consequence of something relatively simple, like subconscious resistance to upcoming changes, or something significantly deeper, such as the fear of confronting a personal truth that you stubbornly refuse to acknowledge. The renowned psychoanalyst Carl Jung indicated that the greatest battle one has to wage unfolds not externally with others, but within oneself, when looking into one's own depths. And when an individual evades this internal confrontation, their body inevitably becomes the mediator, translating the unresolved inner conflict into tangible physical symptoms. Just imagine the colossal power inherent in the ability to decipher this truly secret language of the body. Let's consider the image of carrying a certain weight on your shoulders, a figurative expression often used to describe the burden of daily obligations and responsibilities. But what if it's not just a figure of speech? Many people actually report experiencing back or shoulder pain when under significant stress or excessive pressure. It's worth considering. What invisible burdens do you continue to carry, even though they no longer belong to you? Perhaps it's guilt over past events, unfulfilled promises, or others' expectations that you mistakenly adopted as your own aspirations. You can imagine a pile of stones, each symbolizing a separate worry, an unwanted obligation, a deeply rooted fear, or an old disappointment. Then visualize these stones being released one by one, freeing you from their oppression. One effective method to begin this liberation is a remarkably simple action. Take a blank sheet of paper and write down absolutely everything you believe you are carrying unnecessarily. There's no need to strive for order or aesthetic beauty in what's written. Simply allow your thoughts to flow freely onto the paper. Then read this list aloud, acknowledging and recognizing each aspect mentioned, after which the paper should be burned. As the flames consume the written words, it's recommended to visualize this inner burden gradually dissipating, leaving your body. Despite its symbolic nature, this practice has a very tangible and real therapeutic effect. Another significant aspect requiring attention is the sensation of pressure in the chest, often experienced during bouts of anxiety or intense agitation. This physical manifestation is inextricably linked to the breathing process. In moments of distress, breathing becomes shallow and rapid, often accompanied by an involuntary holding of breath. You can try the following technique. Inhale through your nose, slowly counting to 4, then hold your breath for 4 seconds, and finally, slowly exhale through your mouth. counting to 8. After performing several such breathing cycles, you may notice that not only does the uncomfortable pressure in your chest diminish, but your mind also gradually achieves calm and clarity. The simple methods described serve as keys capable of deciphering important messages sent by the body. However, for these techniques to truly be beneficial, you must be willing to listen attentively, not with haste or judgment, but with a sincere desire to understand precisely what emotion or what profound truth you need to recognize and accept. Delving deeper, you may discover that each body part carries a specific symbolism. Legs, for instance, symbolize movement, and the life path you're treading. Discomfort felt in the thigh muscles can signal a hidden fear of moving forward or indecision before making a momentous decision. Hands, with which people embrace and achieve what they desire, are closely associated with an individual's ability to interact with others or reach for their goals. When pain is felt in the hands or elbows, it sometimes serves as an indicator of internal resistance to openness or to the pursuit of what seems unattainable. The stomach, this amazing organ, not only processes ingested food, but also symbolically reflects how one digests life experiences. It's often heard how people describe a knot in their stomach when confronting difficult circumstances. This phenomenon is explained by the fact that sometimes strong emotions like fear, anger, or deep sorrow are literally swallowed or suppressed. If you experience chronic discomfort in the stomach area, it's appropriate to ask yourself, what am I trying to swallow that shouldn't be digested? And such introspection can lead to practices that effectively help release accumulated tension, such as Tai Chi, yoga, or walks filled with meditative contemplation. In yoga, for example, slow and purposeful movements help release blocked energy from specific areas of the body. Even a simple technique like bending to touch your toes, accompanied by deep breathing, can significantly dissipate tension in the back and hips, precisely these two areas where the human body often accumulates a significant amount of emotional burden. The true transformative power of any action lies in the intention that drives it. Carl Jung, an outstanding thinker, asserted that true healing begins with awareness. This principle applies equally to our physical condition. It's not enough to merely perform movements mechanically. You need to be fully present, feel what's happening inside, and ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling right now? What is the origin of these feelings? What steps can I take? This approach allows you to deepen your connection with yourself, understand what a specific symptom wants to communicate, and unveil the secrets the body still holds. For the body is a silent keeper of profound secrets, a tireless messenger conveying information that the conscious mind often tries to ignore. It's enough to simply pay attention to your body's reactions in seemingly ordinary circumstances. For instance, when faced with a difficult decision, many feel a crushing heaviness in their stomach, as if something invisible is pulling them down. In moments of intense disappointment, there's an involuntary clenching of the jaw and grinding of teeth, as if you're trying to hold back words you dare not speak. These manifestations are by no means accidental. They are a direct signal from the body demanding attention. Carl Jung, deeply penetrating the essence of the human psyche, asserted that an unrealized, unlived life inevitably transforms into illness. All unexpressed emotions, all suppressed feelings that you try to hide deeply, eventually find an outlet, manifesting through the physical body. It becomes a kind of stage on which this inner drama unfolds. Every physical pain or discomfort acts as a distinct line in this unwritten script. You can imagine carrying something invisible, yet immeasurably heavy. A burden you don't know how to shed, but whose presence you feel with every step. This invisible yet palpable burden is the emotional weight that many people carry throughout their lives, often completely unaware of its true nature. This burden finds its expression in the form of chronic pain, persistent muscle rigidity, and even serious illnesses. Such manifestations serve as a powerful signal, as if the body is desperately crying out, "Pay attention. There is something that urgently needs resolution." However, there is a glimmer of hope. These physical sufferings should be perceived not as a punishing affliction, but as a unique opportunity for profound self-discovery. Any discomfort urges you to turn your gaze inward, to explore those emotional realms that may have remained unnoticed or ignored for many years. It's worth considering how you last reacted to acute or chronic pain. Did you merely take a pain reliever and continue your usual activities, or did you attempt to decipher the true message hidden behind these painful sensations? For example, persistent tension in the back may not only be due to poor posture or an unsuitable sleeping arrangement. Often it's closely linked to how much support you feel from others, or whether you're carrying a burden that doesn't fundamentally belong to you. Pain localized in the upper back is traditionally associated with feeling responsible for others' problems, while discomfort in the lower back can signal financial insecurity or deep fears concerning the future. Furthermore, there is hip pain directly related to movement and life changes. If your hips feel stiff or painful, this could indicate a hidden fear of significant transformation in your life, as if your own body is silently saying you're afraid to take the next step. One possible way to further understand the symbolism of the human body suggests paying attention to your hands, these amazing tools designed for creation, building gentle touches, and establishing deep connections. If they experience pain or discomfort, this often signals how you might be clinging to certain situations or holding on to them. Perhaps you're striving to totally control what's happening, or you're holding tightly to something that it's long past time to release. Furthermore, your legs, which bear the entire weight of your body, symbolize the foundation of your existence and balance. Pain in this part of the body can indicate a hidden fear of losing stability in some significant aspect of your life. In such cases, it's worth asking yourself, in what areas of your life are you being overly cautious, taking each step with apprehension? What exactly are you trying to hide from or escape? Something subtle yet extraordinarily powerful occurs when you begin to listen to your body's signals. You can imagine pain as a complex, seemingly insoluble knot which, however, with due patience and careful attention, gradually untangles thread by thread. This is precisely the process that unfolds when you pay proper attention to what your own body is trying to tell you. This path to deep self-understanding requires the application of specific, purposeful practices. For example, conscious breathing is one of the most accessible yet profound and effective tools available to everyone. Do not underestimate the colossal power inherent in the ability to pause for just a few moments and take several slow, deep breaths. With each such deep breath, you send a clear signal of safety and relaxation to your nervous system, promoting its calming and restoration. Similarly, tapping, light, rhythmic pats on specific points on the body helps release internal blockages. You are invited to gently tap the side of your hand with your fingertips while repeating the affirmation, "Even though I feel this pain, I deeply and completely accept myself." Although this method may seem simple, its impact on you is truly profound and multifaceted. Next is the practice of journaling, which is one of the most direct paths to the deeper layers of the unconscious. It's recommended to allow your thoughts and emotions to flow freely onto paper without worrying about grammar rules or structural coherence. You should ask yourself, what do you need me to understand? And allow the words to manifest unhindered. You might be astonished by what can emerge from these free flows of consciousness. The renowned thinker Carl Jung asserted that one who looks outward dreams, while one who looks inward awakens. This inner awakening begins with genuine, attentive listening, with recognizing your own body not merely as a physical shell, but as a wise, symbolic ally that constantly communicates with you. However, this path of self-discovery doesn't end with an initial insight. Each new revelation, like a beacon, illuminates the way to fresh questions and unexplored depths for further investigation. The deeper we delve into the stories etched in our bodily memory, the more evident it becomes. No pain, no physical manifestation arises without cause. The body possesses incredible inherent wisdom, and it is profoundly sincere. It doesn't seek to mislead. It merely impartially reflects what demands awareness and acceptance. The more persistently one disregards its signals, the more intense this internal call becomes, starting as a faint whisper that gradually escalates into an insistent plea and then a desperate cry. Carl Jung, a distinguished thinker, asserted that the soul speaks to the body what the mind sometimes cannot grasp. This profound statement perfectly encapsulates the inseparable connection between emotional experiences, thought processes, and their physical manifestations. One can only imagine how different a person's life would be if they learned to recognize these internal warnings in a timely manner before ordinary tension transformed into a chronic state or mild discomfort escalated into something truly unbearable. Let's once again turn our attention to the back, often perceived as the primary foundation of our physical existence. Pain, localized in the upper back, can signal that a person is carrying an excessive burden of responsibility for others, while discomfort in the lower back often indicates fears related to future uncertainty or financial security. A telling example is the case of a woman who recounted how her lower back pain significantly worsened during a period of unemployment. She described this state as a feeling of complete lack of real support. However, when she began to purposefully develop inner confidence and gradually build small pillars of emotional stability, her pain noticeably subsided. This is precisely how this interconnectedness manifests when we begin to perceive the body as an accurate mirror of our inner emotional state. Now, let's turn to our hands, which serve to connect us with others and enable us to act in the world. When hands become stiff or painful, it might signal an attempt at excessive control or an overwhelming need to hold on to too many things at once, accompanied by the fear that if you let go of anything, everything will immediately fall apart. But will it truly? At such moments, the body seems to insistently ask you to release part of your burden and allow some things to resolve themselves. A powerful and therapeutic exercise is to slowly open and clench your hands into a fist, accompanied by deep inhales and exhales, imagining that with each movement you are releasing a portion of the heavy load you carry. Allow yourself to feel the desired lightness as the weight gradually dissipates, giving way to inner peace. Let's consider the legs, these reliable supports of the human body, which not only bear its weight and connect us to the earth, but also tirelessly move us toward our goals. When they begin to cause discomfort, it often signals deep questions concerning life's purpose. Perhaps a person fears taking a decisive step forward, or their current path doesn't align with their true essence and inner aspirations. There was a known case of an individual who suffered from chronic leg pain, particularly noticeable in the mornings. He admitted feeling trapped in a routine he genuinely despised, yet believed there was no escape. However, as soon as he began exploring new professional opportunities and took small, confident steps toward his cherished dreams, the discomfort in his legs noticeably lessened. This improvement was not a mere coincidence. Rather, it was a vivid example of how the physical body sensitively reacts to a radical shift in inner perception. As for the jaw, this seemingly small yet surprisingly powerful area often becomes a repository for immense tension, the existence of which many people are unaware. Bruxism, or nighttime teeth grinding, along with morning jaw stiffness, frequently serve as indicators of unexpressed emotions and unspoken words. Such manifestations suggest that for some reason an individual has deemed it unsafe or inappropriate to voice their true feelings or thoughts. To alleviate this condition, it's recommended to gently place your palms on either side of your face and softly massage the jaw area, accompanied by deep, measured breathing. While doing so, you can mentally ask yourself, what exactly am I holding back right now? What words or feelings do I need to express, but haven't yet? Sometimes merely acknowledging and recognizing this question is enough to initiate the process of releasing accumulated tension. Finally, our attention turns to the heart, arguably the most emblematic part of the human organism. Its rhythmic contractions not only sustain vital functions, but also serve as the source of our most profound emotions, shaping and reflecting them. When one feels tightness in the heart area or notices unexplained pressure in the chest, it often indicates an accumulation of unexpressed sorrow, deep-seated fear, or harbored resentment. According to Carl Jung, the heart acted as a bridge connecting the conscious and unconscious realms, which explains its powerful responsive reaction to a person's experiences and inner states. If such feelings of pressure arise, a simple yet effective exercise is to place your palms on your chest, close your eyes, and mentally envision a bright, radiant glow enveloping the heart area. With each inhale, allow this light to expand, filling all space, and with each exhale, imagine any darkness or heaviness gradually dissipating, giving way to lightness. During this time, it's recommended to repeat the affirmation to yourself. I allow myself to feel. I allow myself to be free. Every physical manifestation or symptom should be viewed as an integral part of life's vast puzzle, reflecting what requires recognition and subsequent healing in an individual's journey. However, it's important to remember that the human body is not merely a repository of pain and negative experiences, it also possesses an astonishing capacity for transformation and self-healing. It does not wish for a person to remain in a state of suffering. On the contrary, its true desire is to facilitate personal growth and comprehensive development. Therefore, it's worth asking, what else is my body trying to show me? What profound truths are yet to be realized and revealed? The human body serves not merely as a repository of past experiences and accumulated memories, it is also an invaluable guide, directing individuals toward liberation from what no longer serves their highest good. Every tension, pain, or discomfort can be likened to a blank page, patiently waiting to be read, understood, and finally turned over. However, such a process requires significant courage. The courage to pause in life's hustle, listen attentively, and fully accept what one's own body communicates. Carl Jung, a distinguished psychoanalyst, asserted that symptoms are the body's dreams, masterfully translating the soul's inner conflicts and uniting physiological sensations with emotional states into a single, cohesive narrative. When a person begins to perceive each symptom not as an annoying obstacle requiring immediate elimination, but as a significant message, they thereby open a direct and unhindered channel to their own unconscious, allowing it to express itself in ways that may have been unconsciously suppressed or ignored before. As a vivid example, consider the state of chronic fatigue experienced even after adequate rest. It may well be not exclusively a physiological manifestation, but rather a deep reflection of emotional or even spiritual exhaustion. Perhaps the individual carries the heavy burden of constantly demonstrating strength, unconsciously denying themselves the right to vulnerability. In such circumstances, the body insistently calls upon the person to stop, to simply be themselves without any need to exceed their true capabilities or constantly prove anything. Let's return to considering the hands, these indispensable tools in daily life. Through them we create, protect, give, and receive. When these limbs are gripped by pain or lose their mobility, it can signal an excessive desire for control or strong attachment. There is a simple yet highly effective exercise. Slowly open your palms on an inhale, mentally imagining letting go of everything that no longer serves your needs, and then gently close them on an exhale, visualizing the acceptance of only what truly nourishes and supports you. Each such repetition gradually deepens focus and directs attention. The neck, in turn, invariably acts as a barometer of inner flexibility. When it becomes rigid, it can indicate a person's stubborn adherence to their personal worldview. It is recommended to gently move it from side to side as if saying no, and then up and down as if saying yes, all while breathing deeply and rhythmically. Although such an action may seem insignificant, with the right intention, it can release not only physical muscle tension, but also something much greater. And finally, the abdomen, an area inextricably linked to how an individual processes life experiences. Sometimes a feeling of nausea or discomfort arises not because of consumed food, but from assimilating situations that do not align with a person's true desires. Noticing this internal heaviness, you should place your hands on your abdomen and exhale, mentally saying, I release everything that does not belong to me. This act may seem purely symbolic, yet it holds the key to deep interaction with unconscious processes. And now, finally, our attention turns to the heart, an organ that is arguably the most symbolic and deeply significant part of the human body. The heart not only carries out continuous contractions, supporting life processes, but also acts as the true core where our most profound emotions originate and are formed. When a person feels their heart is constricted or notices unexplained pressure in the chest area, it often serves as a sure sign of accumulated sorrow, deep anxiety, or even unexpressed anger, feelings that, for one reason or another, have not found their full release. If an individual encounters such sensations, they are invited to imagine how each heartbeat seems to expand their chest, filling it with bright, life-giving light, allowing all internal oppression and heaviness to gradually dissolve. With each inhale performed during this focus, it is recommended to mentally or aloud pronounce a powerful affirmation. I allow myself to feel. I allow myself to heal. Ultimately, it must be recognized that the human body is not merely a biological machine, but a faithful and reliable ally, tirelessly striving to ensure its protection and point the way to a more balanced and meaningful existence. The signals it sends, be it pain, stiffness, or pressure, represent a unique language through which it communicates with its owner. Listen to me, it seems to whisper. Pay close attention to this. Often people are afraid to heed these messages, fearing to discover something painful or unpleasant. However, ignoring these signals only increases their persistence and makes the message more pronounced. As one delves deeper into this path of self-discovery and interaction with the body, a true living library unfolds before them, carefully preserving stories, past experiences, and long-forgotten or ignored emotions that nonetheless continue to invisibly shape their life. Each time another page from this library is integrated, the individual takes a step toward their own completeness and wholeness. Yes, this process can instill apprehension and seem frightening, but it also grants profound liberation. After all, ultimately, the body is not an enemy, but a loyal and unwavering companion on life's journey. Every internal tension a person feels can be viewed as a profound message of care, a kind of silent call, reminding one of the need for greater ease, more mindful self-care, and the attainment of inner harmony. In response to this signal, it is recommended to pause, take a few calm breaths, place a hand on your chest, and mentally yet gently ask, "Body, what do you wish to tell me?" Perhaps an immediate answer won't follow, but creating such a space for dialogue is the first step toward extraordinary changes. During this internal exchange, it's often observed how pain gradually diminishes, accumulated heaviness dissipates, and one's connection with their own essence noticeably strengthens. When a person learns to truly listen, feel deeply, and act in accordance with these internal signals, an important cycle is completed. This does not signify the end of the journey. On the contrary, it marks the beginning of a qualitatively new relationship with oneself. In these relationships, one does not merely passively inhabit their physical body, but begins to perceive it as a wise teacher, a reliable guide, and even as a door leading to the understanding of their true essence. What incredible discoveries await those who daily dedicate time to developing this inner connection? What profound truths will the body reveal when it feels it is finally ready to be attentively listened to and accepted?